Tonight on Be Something Wonderful, how to imagine and manifest it, plus 3 techniques to try it out. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I got an email from a few subscribers about imagination and your imaginal act. The first question was, Tom, imagination or imagining feels like a focused daydream to me. I just can't quite feel it as real. And I was wondering if you could talk about that. And then the second question was, Tom, Neville mentions the state akin to sleep, or SATS. And I really have trouble getting into that. I normally fall asleep. Is that necessary for your imaginal act? Well, guys, we're going to talk about this today and more. First, I want to talk about imagination. Imagination is real. In fact, it's just as real, if not more real, than your 3D reality. Why? Because the source of 3D reality is your imagination, is your inner world. Everything you see in 3D was created within first, was that inner world, was the world of your imagination. It is the source of what you think of as reality. Right? And sure, we have the old paradigm where physical world is more real, more valid, more important than anything else, right? This is the old paradigm. Or if you can't perceive it with your 3D senses, it's not real. Or everything else is just your imagination, right? Or I'll believe it when I see it. All that is the old paradigm, right? Now, there are benefits to the 3D world, right? You experience the 3D world without all of your thoughts manifesting all at once, right? If we didn't have this physicality, this world of relativity or duality of the 3D world, and we imagine things, we would experience every thought immediately, right? There would be chaos, right? And we wouldn't really be able to experience our desires because it would all be happening at once. Right? There is no linear time, only in 3D, right? So the 3D world, or the world of the linear time, gives you structure and focus to move through the world of duality. It gives you a way to create your desires and experience those creations. So that's big. And then, so the old paradigm set limits you to recycling past experiences. This is the thing, guys, right? Without imagination, you're just building new houses with old bricks. You're just pushing effects around and conditions in the 3D world. You're using already manifested effects to try to create something new, right? You're limited by time, space, and beliefs. That's why imagination is so powerful, right? Because that's where all new creations come from, right? The new paradigm says there's no difference between physical stuff and your imagination, right? What you imagine is just as real, if not more real, than manifested matter. Right? There's no difference between an imagined flower and a real flower except in your perception or definition of it. Hear this. This is big. So imagined flower, this is your imagined flower, right? They're both energy. This is your physical 3D flower. They're both energy. Just one is more subtle energy. It's lighter energy. It's vibrating faster, right? And then the real flower is more dense or heavy energy. Right? It's a much slower vibration, but they're both energy. They're both the same energy, and they're both just as real. That's big. So anything you can desire or imagine is real on some plane of existence. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to desire it. We've talked about that. And even bigger than that, you wouldn't be able to imagine it or even have it as a thought. If it wasn't real already, if it wasn't already a manifested thing in another reality, if it didn't already exist on another plane in manifested form, right? It's manifested in another reality. It's already exists, or you wouldn't have had the thought, or you wouldn't be able to imagine it. That's big. When you loosen your definition of reality, you open yourself up to miracles. That's what miracles come from. That's why they call them miracles. Right? That's where synchronicities come from. That's where coincidences come from. That's how things are created, right? That imagination really is like creating a new memory. Right? Think of it that way. Right? If you believe that your memories of past events are real, those are just images, right? Those are just your imagination of the past. If you believe those are real, then if you believe your memory is real, then your imagination must be real. Hear this, because your imagination is simply a new memory. It's an image, a new memory. It's the same thing. Your imagination is your connection to the invisible realm of all that is, and all the people, events, and circumstances and information there ever is, was, or ever be. Hear this. So it goes beyond just manifesting the SP in your life, the new job, the new house, the new car, a bag of money, independence, right? Security, whatever you want to manifest, it's so much more bigger than that. Why? Because it's the infinite archive of eternity. It's the intelligent mind. It contains all intelligence, all information, every thought there ever is, was, or ever be. Right? You have access to the wisdom of eternity, the wisdom of all creation. Imagine that. It's a mind-boggling source of intelligence and guidance and intuition. So it's not just to manifest stuff. It's much bigger than that, guys. So how to intensify your imaginal acts? So how do we juice up our imaginal acts? How do we intensify them? First, call forth more of your senses. Think of this. Imagine yourself at a beach. What would you see? Well, you'd see the water. Maybe the water is bluer today, like the ocean water, or maybe it's more of a green. Right? Maybe you're hearing waves, right? Add audio to it. Add sounds or voices of kids playing on the beach. Add smell. You could smell the ocean air. Add touch, right? What does it feel like with your hand, running your hands through the sand or your feet on the hot sand, right? Ouch, right? Feeling the hot sand on the beach. Feel the touch, right? Add feeling and emotion, surprise, excitement, adrenaline. Maybe it's just peace, that you're just feeling peaceful and relaxed, right? Maybe you meet somebody that you like and you start getting butterflies and you have that feeling of being smitten, right? Like puppy love or first love, right? Or whatever it is, right? And then another thing to do is go or do something in physical reality that is like the imaginal act. Go to the beach, actual beach, and imagine it there, right? Imagine that event happening there, right? You're adding to the intensity of the imaginal acts. Be grateful in advance. This is important. So before you go into any imaginal act, guys, because sometimes we get frustrated, right? That, it hasn't happened, I don't see my desire, and we bounce out of the state of appreciation and gratitude very quickly, right? And then we try to go back and imagine it from that state of not feeling very grateful, not feeling very appreciative. Fill your life always with gratitude. That's the prerequisite. That's the starting point. That's where you begin, right? Normally, we feel gratitude at the end. You've got to begin with gratitude. And you've got to fill your life with it, right? And then believe in the inner reality as much as you do the outer reality. You've got to believe in that imaginal act. You've got to believe in your imagination. Those are just tips to intensify it. And then keep it simple. Your imaginal act should be simple. Neville Goddard talks about this, right? A simple scene. But more than that, there are really only two requirements. One, you've got to be relaxed, in a deep relaxed state, right? Neville Goddard and other spiritual teachers talk about a state akin to sleep, right? Right before you drop off to sleep or right after you wake up, right? That's the theta state. That's when you're connected to that subconscious. That's when the impression is the most pronounced. But you don't have to be in that state, right? An alpha state is fine. An alpha state is a deep relaxed state. Right? You're still pretty aware in that state. You're in a flow state. Really, the alpha state's a bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. That's all you need to get everything you ever wanted, right? And then have conviction, right? Those are the only two things. Relax deeply, get in that alpha state or a SATS, and then have that conviction. Have the conviction of your imaginal act. Right? Believe in it. Expect it to happen. Expect good things to happen. Expect it to be a good experience, that imaginal act, right? And then breathe deeply, right? In through your nose, out through your mouth, right? As all the spiritual teachers say, and then count backwards, right? That's another way to get into that act, right? After you breathe, you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you go into your imaginal act. Whatever you want, whatever process, but these are just ideas, right? But it doesn't get any more simple than that. Get into that relaxed state and then be convinced in your imaginal act. Convince yourself, sit in that conviction that it's working, that you expect it. So, a couple things to try. The first thing, they're kind of like mini techniques or mini processes. I don't even want to call them that, but kind of mini imaginal acts. But let's try the first one is a good news meditation. And now in this meditation now, you're going to imagine tomorrow, the next day, whatever day you're listening to this, that you're going to receive amazing news. That's your imaginal act. It's either you're going to find money on the street, these are examples, or you're going to imagine that you receive an email or a phone call with good news. Whatever the imaginal act is, it's not important, right? Because again, you're not trying to manifest the imaginal act, you're trying to manifest good news. Hear this, that's the difference. You're trying to get into that vibration or that state of good luck, of receiving good news, of good cheer, of good feeling, right? Imagine, and this is important, imagine looking at a calendar, not with focus. In your imaginal act, you see the date somewhere. Either you see it on a newspaper or on your laptop that has tomorrow's date in your imaginal act, right? Because remember, you're imagining something, receiving good news tomorrow or the next day. So in your imaginal act, you should see the date. And then feel the emotion of surprise and delight, right? And then say to yourself in your imaginal act, good things always happen to me, or whatever yours is. Maybe it's the universe always has my back, or things are always working out for me. Whatever resonates with you, have something there that you can turn to in your imaginal act. Remember, maybe you're imagining that you find money on the street, and that's the good news. Something's going to happen the next day. You're going to receive good news. It might not be finding money on the street. Remember, the imaginal act, the point of the imaginal act is to get good news, whatever that news is. It might not be exactly related to your imaginal act, but you will be receiving distinct good news. Not run-of-the-mill good news that can be confused with just a coincidence. This is good news, right? That's going to really surprise you and knock you off your feet. And then you're going to find yourself saying, good things always happen to me. Write me, comment on Facebook, comment on the channel. Or we have a Facebook site too as well, it'd be something wonderful. But really comment on the channel and let me know how it went. And so, 2, this is really, wouldn't it be nice, right? Now, I think I've talked about this before. And grab a pad of paper and dedicate a small pad of paper just for this. Wouldn't it be nice? And then take a few minutes and write down as many things you can think of. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if I met somebody new and we had a great weekend of fun, dinner, and excitement? Wouldn't it be nice if I won a trip around the world? Or wouldn't it be nice if I won the lottery? Right? Wouldn't it be nice wouldn't it be nice if I won a contest? Wouldn't it be nice if a friend called me up and invited me out to spend the day in the park? Wouldn't it be nice if my mortgage was paid off? Wouldn't it be nice if I just received a lump of money that was an inheritance? Anything you want, make your imagination run wild, right? Wouldn't it be nice? Remember, no expectations. Be playful, have fun. It can be even fun things or ridiculous things, right? Mix it up. So small things, big things, things that they're kind of ridiculous, things that are a little bit more normal, right? Mix it up. Be light about it. Don't force anything. Have fun with this list, right? Don't do it to try to make something happen. After you finish your list, right? It could be 10, 20, 30 things, whatever you feel motivated. Don't force yourself, right? After you're done, you're done. Go into that alpha state, right? Go into that relaxed state. Start counting backwards, right? For about 5 to 10 minutes. Get into that deep, relaxed state. And then come out of your meditation and then put the list aside, right? Put it aside for 7 days, for 1 week. And then in 7 days, go back to your list and check off as many things that happens, right? Maybe nothing happens. It doesn't matter. Remember, there's no expectations. But keep the list and keep adding to it. Why? As you keep adding to it, as you do the list, You can even add the same thing that you've already added maybe early on the list, right? The point is to get into that vibration, to get into that energy of nice things happening, right? It's sort of manifesting effortlessly, right? So keep the list. Believe me, you're going to start checking things off. It just happens, right? You're putting it in the attention. You're putting it out there, right? It has to manifest. And then this one's more of a traditional imaginal act, if you will. But here's the thing what you're going to do. You're going to do an imaginal act. And we talked about that imagination is like a new memory. Well, you're going to create a new memory. But you're going to create a new memory of one of your desires. And then you're going to look back on your desire fulfilled as a memory. We've talked about this, I think, in a previous video. I talked about a technique that was similar to this. Well, that's what it's like. You're going to imagine one of your desires already having happened. And you're going to imagine as a wonderful recent past event. It's a memory. It's a recent memory, right? It's no longer something you're imagining as a wish fulfilled to happen and manifest in the future. You're creating a past memory of it, right? Feel the relief and the satisfaction. Feel the shift from expectation to already having happened, right? There's a big shift here. You should feel that relief, right? Moves you from feeling separate from your desire to feeling one with it. This is important, right? Because we always feel separate from our desires. We feel separate from our SP. We feel separate from that new job we want. We feel separate from that trip around the world that we want to win. We feel separate from things, right? And this moves you to make you one with your desire, right? It now becomes part of your memory. It becomes part of who you are. It's real. It's in your memory. Remember, imagination is creating a new memory. That's what you're doing there. That's how to imagine and manifest it, plus 3 techniques to try it out. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. Hit us up on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kieran, our website at tomkieran.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com, or write me and say hello at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, with great love, this is Tom. See you soon.